Winter in Maine is a great time to go snowmobiling, but it can be very dangerous, especially when you're traveling on lakes and rivers. Add to that traveling at night and you have a recipe for disaster. Recently, on a cold, dark night, a young man was traveling on his snowmobile upon a lake that he had ridden for years. Suddenly, as he was traveling along, he felt the ice give way underneath him, and before he knew it, he was in water over his head. He kept his cool, though, and without panicking, rescued himself back up onto the ice. The wardens found him, cut his clothes off, and provided him with warm blankets to get his body temperature up, and after a short time he recovered fully, but had one problem to solve. How do I get my snowmobile off the bottom of the lake? A network of professionals in law enforcement, insurance underwriters, and salvage experts were brought into the case. It was at this time that Marine, Salvage, Towing, and Taxi were contacted and brought in as the main salvagers of the snowmobile. Marine, Salvage, Towing, and Taxi Incorporated are based in Southport, Maine, with offices in Portland, Maine. Additionally, they are the Sea-Tow franchise and operate a water taxi in the Portland area. When the decision was made to salvage the snowmobile on the bottom of the lake, Bruce White and Matt Wilder, owners of Marine, Towing, Salvage, and Taxi Incorporated, leapt into action planning the recovery. The objectives of a recovery such as this is to preserve and protect the property being recovered, to recover the item as efficiently as possible, to have zero environmental impact, and to do all this with expert safety in mind. The evolution of the project was commenced and mobilization begun. The team was assembled and supplies and equipment were dispatched to the location of the sunken sled. At 0830 hours, the salvage team arrived at the preliminary meeting point, approximately a half-mile from the recovery area. From here, a tractor and snowplows cleared the cottage road down to the lake. The dive expert joined the team, and all members received preliminary instructions to plan for the recovery. At 0930 hours, members of the recovery team arrived at the embarkation site. The team consisted of team leaders Bruce White and Matt Wilder, along with recovery diver Jim Buxton and salvage expert Jason Hunter. The salvage equipment included a 14-foot aluminum skiff with an outboard motor, a 12-foot John boat, and an inflatable raft used to tow the diver to where the sled was underwater. Also brought to the scene was an appropriate snowmobile trailer for the removal of the snowmobile to a storage location. We had 3 four-wheel drive vehicles and the Sea-Tow salvage recovery trailer loaded with generators, pumps, winches, lift bags, and other salvage equipment. At 9:45 hours, all salvage personnel and boats proceeded to the location of the sunken snowmobile. The team had to travel approximately 1/4 mile up the lake in open water to the sunken snowmobile. Once anchored directly over the sunken snowmobile, the diver was deployed. The snowmobile rested in an upright position on the bottom of the lake and showed no signs of damage. The diver then confirmed attach points for lift bags and carefully attached the lift bags so as not to damage the sled in any way during the lifting. Air hoses were attached to the lift bags and the manifold. The surface team carefully applied air to the bags to lift the sled evenly to the surface of the lake. The snowmobile broke the surface of the water at 11:39 hours and was carefully attached to the 2 small boats assisting in the recovery. The diver was recovered into the inflatable raft, and the team made a procession back to the launch point. Once back at the launch point, the team had to carefully rig the snowmobile for its transition from the water onto the ice. The snowmobile was recovered successfully back onto dry land and onto the trailer for a transfer to a secure, warm facility. This recovery was a complete success. Whether it was meant to float or never meant to float, if your possession is on the bottom, underwater, Sea-Tow Portland Midcoast should be your first call. We can get it done.